Week 14 of the fantasy football season. Here's the top 15 tight ends I'm ranking this week. Number 1, Brock Bowers of the Las Vegas Raiders. Brock Bowers, in his rookie season, he's already become one of the more lethal pass catchers overall in all pro football. So this week with a great matchup at Tampa Bay, coming over 100 yards and a touchdown last week at the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to have an answer for Brock Bowers, and he's been locked in all year. And like I said, he's a matchup problem and one of the more highly touted tight end prospects in the last decade, and he's definitely living up to the build. Number 2, Trey McBride of the Arizona Cardinals. Trey McBride, he's had a monster season, and the last couple weeks he's just been a monster target for Kyler Murray in this Arizona offense. Last week going over 100 yards once again was Trey McBride. Now he's getting double-digit catches weekly, it seems like, and this week in a decent matchup versus Seahawks. I know their defense has definitely played better over the last few weeks, but it just doesn't matter the matchup. Trey McBride, he's a tight end you can't cover, safety, linebacker. It just don't matter with his size, strength, and speed. He's getting open and making plays, and he's been a big-time playmaker. Coming into the season, he started off slow, but now picking right back up. We ended last season. Number 3, Jonnu Smith of the Miami Dolphins. So Jonnu Smith, last few weeks here, he's one of the best tight ends in all fantasy football. And this week, a good matchup versus the New York Jets coming to town. They can't stop anyone. Jonnu's really emerged as the number 2 option in the passing game for Miami. Him and Tua hitting on those quick hit type of slants and quick routes. And this week, like I said, the Jets linebacking crew's banged up. CJ Mosley obviously was a big loss for them early in the season. And this week, I think this is a potential high-scoring game, and Jonnu Smith could go out there once again. I'm not saying he's going to get over 100 yards another week here, but definitely 70, 80 yards is a possibility in finding the end zone. Number 4, George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers. So George Kittle, it's been a great season for him. And this Niner team, they've just been banged up with guys in and out of the lineup all year. But George Kittle, a great matchup this week versus the Bears. They can't stop anyone, and that came out unscathed in that snow game. And without Christian McCaffrey out, they're going to pass the football a little bit more, I believe, is this San Francisco 49er team. So with Kittle healthy, Deebo Samuel not doing much all season, and Brock Purdy, at least he's been back in the lineup the last week. I think Kittle gets back to putting up big numbers. Number 5, Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs. So Kelce, believe it or not, he does have over 70 catches on the season, is Kelce. But obviously his impact this year hasn't been what it's been in years past. I believe this is the latter part of his career, unfortunately, but he is 35 years old, 3 Super Bowl championships under his belt. But this week, still a good matchup versus the Los Angeles Charger team that he's had great success against, obviously, in his NFL career, playing them twice a year in the AFC West. So this week, Travis Kelce, I still believe, could go out there, put up some decent numbers, and he still is the number 1 target in the passing game for this Chief team. Number 6, David Njoku of the Cleveland Browns. And Njoku and Jameis Winston, they've definitely been a nice tandem in this offense for this Brown team. Last week, he found the end zone twice as David Njoku. He's a big target, tight end, great speed, great yard after catch ability. And this week, it definitely is a tough matchup at the Pittsburgh Steelers. But David Njoku, he goes out there weekly, he's getting his targets, he's making his plays. And this could be a game, once again, where Cleveland's trailing and they're pretty much abandoned the run and throw the football the majority of the game. So this week in Pittsburgh, I think Njoku could go out there and be a top 6 option. 7, TJ Hawkinson of the Minnesota Vikings. So TJ Hawkinson, it's been an up and down first month back in the lineup with this Minnesota Viking team. One bad game, one great game, it seems like the pattern's been. So this week, a good matchup versus the Atlanta Falcons, where this could potentially be a game where both teams are putting points on the board up and down the field. And Hawkinson, we know he's not 100% coming off the ACL. Sometimes that takes a year for you to be 100%. But this week versus Atlanta, where they got holes in their defense, I think Hawkinson could go out there and have a bounce-back performance. Number 8, Sam Laporta of the Detroit Lions. Last week, I know he only had 3 catches, 6 yards, 2 of them with touchdowns. And Laporta definitely a bust, where he was the number 1 tight end off the board in a lot of fantasy leagues. But this week in a potential high-scoring game versus the Green Bay Packers, where points are going to be put on the board, especially at a premium, I believe, on Thursday Night Football, where all those games are high-scoring. I think Laporta, once again, could go out there, have a good ball game. I'm not saying he's finding the end zone twice, but if he could get 30, 40 yards and find the end zone, I think that's definitely a possibility. Number 9, Evan Ingram of the Jacksonville Jaguars, number 2 option in this passing game behind Brian Thomas. I know Mac Jones is in there, quarterback. This week at Tennessee, their defense hasn't been great this year, but this Jaguar offense hasn't been great. Bad offensive line, not putting points on the board, but I still believe Evan Ingram could have a decent ball game. Number 10, Cade Otton of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So his numbers have definitely taken a hit over the last few weeks since Mike Evans has returned to the lineup as Cade Otton. But this week it's a slam dunk matchup versus the Vegas Raiders. He's a big target, and I still believe he's the number 2 target in the passing game. Jalen McMillan, Sterling Shepard, we really haven't seen much out of them. I know Rachaad White's receiving back out of the backfield, but I think Cade Otton, he's due to bounce back after 2 mediocre to 4 weeks. This week, number 11, Tucker Kraft. The Green Bay Packers said Tucker Kraft, it's been a solid season for him. I know a few weeks ago he did have a goose egg with Tucker Kraft in a blowout victory versus San Francisco 49ers, but last week he went out there, nice ball game. Tucker Kraft bouncing back, 6 catches, 78 yards in that one. So this week where points are going to be put on the board, in my opinion, at the Detroit Lions. Tucker Kraft, he's a tight end that has great yard after catch ability. He's a big target in the red zone as well. And pretty much this offense, Jayden Reed and Tucker Kraft's been the most 2 consistent pass catchers all season long. Number 12, Pat Freiermuth of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Freiermuth, he's definitely turned his season around since Russell Wilson's been their quarterback. He's finding the end zone is Freiermuth. We always knew he had the knack in the red zone to make plays and find the end zone. And this week versus Cleveland, a defense they haven't stopped anyone all season long, is this Cleveland defense. I think Freiermuth, he could go out there once again and have a top 12 performance. 13, Ferguson of the Dallas Cowboys. He missed the last couple weeks here. Is Jake Ferguson for this Dallas Cowboy team, but he's still the number 2 option in the passing game. Shoemaker definitely filled in well, but like I said, Ferguson coming into the year, this season was a great year for Jake Ferguson. Even with Dak Prescott out, this tight end position's always getting targeted in this offense behind CeeDee Lamb. And Ferguson, we know he's a playmaker. We know he's a good yard after catch guy. And this week in a matchup versus the Bengals that can't stop anyone, he's definitely a tight end that still, even after coming off injury, cracks the top 15. 14, Cole Kmet of the Chicago Bears. So Cole Kmet, it's been an up and down season for Kmet. And this offense overall has been inconsistent. And they got a lot of great weapons, obviously. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift out of the backfield. And Kmet, like I said, he's had a couple moments this year, but most games than not, numbers haven't really been that great. But this week at San Francisco, where they could be trailing points, and where I think this offense is going to come out different this week with Eberflus out as head coach, they're going to change things up and shake it up a little bit, where they got nothing to lose here, being 4-8 on the season. So I think Cole Kmet could go out there, have a decent ball game. And like I said, sometimes he surprises and has those monster games. In the 15th and final tight end, I'm ranking Noah Gray of the Kansas City Chiefs. So yes, I know he's the backup tight end, is Noah Gray, but he's had 9 or more fantasy points the last 3 weeks here as Noah Gray in PPR leagues, and he's found the end zone 4 times in the last 3 games. So right now, my belief is he's the number 3 target in the passing game behind Travis Kelce, behind DeAndre Hopkins, and then Noah Gray. He's been getting targeted more than Xavier Worthy, and he's going out there and making plays. So Patrick Mahomes, his numbers have gone up over the last few weeks with Noah Gray emerging in this system. And we've seen flashes over the last few seasons, a game here and there with Noah Gray will go out there and put points on the board. So this week versus the Chargers, a defense that's been hit or miss this season, but this Kansas City offense has played well versus the Chargers for many seasons. I believe Noah Gray could go out there once again and be a serviceable option. So that's the top 15 tight ends I'm ranking for Week 14 of the fantasy football season.